The Cosmic Librarian, Chapter 7, The Codex of Cosmic Maps. The tome lay undisturbed for countless ages, hidden within the recesses of the old bookshop, waiting for the hand fated to unveil its secrets. Bound in darkened leather, its surface bore the etchings of celestial bodies unknown to mortal astronomers, spiraling patterns that wove an intricate dance of interlocked destinies. Its spine, though weathered by time, stood firm, as though resisting the erosion that had claimed so many of its lesser kin. Emma hesitated before reaching for it. A sense of recognition stirred within her, though she had never seen this book before. Gold filigree traced the shapes of spirals and intersecting lines, suggesting not mere decoration, but a map, a guide to something unseen yet deeply felt. To gaze upon the Codex was to feel the vastness of the heavens pressing in, the weight of the infinite stretching beyond mortal comprehension. It was no ordinary manuscript, for the very ink upon its pages shimmered faintly, like the cold glow of distant stars against the velvet black of an eternal night. The air around it hummed with an almost imperceptible energy, a whisper of something vast and ancient lingering within its pages, as though the book itself had borne witness to the forging of the stars and the weaving of fate's inexorable loom. With careful reverence, the book was opened, its pages untouched by decay. The first inscriptions spoke in a language older than time, sigils that seemed both written and woven, their lines not merely strokes of ink but threads binding the past, present, and future in their interwoven dance. The glyphs pulsed faintly, forming constellations unknown to the heavens above, yet familiar in a way that defied mortal reckoning. Here was no mere record of the skies, but a revelation, an unveiling of the cosmos' hidden order, of a truth lost to the annals of history. The opening passage, though written in that arcane tongue, carried a meaning that resounded in the soul rather than the mind. Time is but a river, and space the vessel through which it flows. To command one is to shape the other, to see beyond the veil of mortal sight and glimpse the grand design. At once the manuscript revealed its purpose, a guide to the celestial order, a map of the unseen forces that wove the fates of stars and men alike. Here, inscribed upon its ageless parchment, lay the Codex of Cosmic Maps, a record not merely of constellations, but of the very currents that dictated the ebb and flow of time itself. The heavens were not stagnant, nor were they coldly indifferent. They moved with purpose, with intention, and within these pages lay the key to deciphering their whispered will. Further into the manuscript, great spirals unfolded across the parchment, their lines shifting subtly under the light as though mimicking the slow, ponderous motion of galaxies adrift upon the tide of the cosmos. Each intersection, each point of light marked upon the maps, was no mere star, but a nexus in the grand design, a juncture where time and space interwove, where history and destiny met in silent accord. Yet this was no passive recording of cosmic truth. The words upon the page suggested an intelligence behind the veil of the visible universe, a guiding force that shaped the paths of the stars, just as the stars, in turn, shaped the lives of those beneath them. Prophets and sages of forgotten ages had once understood this truth, their wisdom lost to the sands of time, buried beneath the rise and fall of civilizations that had gazed upward, seeking meaning in the heavens but failing to grasp their hidden design. The Codex told of such an age, a time before the world had settled into its present order. There had been those who walked between the stars, who spoke in the language of light and shadow, weaving the strands of fate with knowledge long since faded into myth. These celestial navigators, the Ardent keepers, had inscribed within these pages the knowledge of their craft, not mere astronomy, but a deeper understanding, a way of seeing time itself as a pattern within the vast expanse. And yet, as with all knowledge of power, it had been hidden away, veiled from those who would misuse it. for to see the pattern of time was to stand at the precipice of fate, to wield the means to alter its course, for better or for ruin. The Codex had been sealed away, waiting through the long ages, safeguarded against those who sought dominion over time and space. The text described, in solemn detail, the folly of those who once sought to bend the will of the stars to their own ends. Empires had risen upon the back of celestial knowledge, forging great wonders that defied the natural order, their rulers believing themselves to be the architects of fate. Yet the stars bore no loyalty to the whims of mortals, and those who sought to master time without understanding its balance found themselves lost within its tides. Cities had crumbled, swallowed by the very forces they had dared to harness. Names once sung in triumph faded into the silence of history, and the Codex itself became legend, its warnings unheeded by those who came after. The book trembled slightly in the dim light, as though the ink itself stirred in quiet remembrance. Within these pages lay a history unknown to modern scholars, a testament to a knowledge now lost. And yet the stars continued their march across the sky, their silent voices whispering the same truths they had always spoken, waiting for one who could listen, who could understand. At the heart of the Codex, a diagram unlike any before it sprawled across the pages, a convergence of celestial lines that defied ordinary understanding, not a mere chart but a key, a pattern woven so intricately that it suggested the very fabric of the universe could be unraveled and rewoven by those who dared to decipher its meaning. Here lay the proof that time itself was not immutable, that space and time were but twin strands of a single great tapestry. The discovery was more than knowledge. It was an invitation, a call to those who would seek beyond the limits of their world, who would dare to touch the edges of eternity. But with such knowledge came a warning, written in the same luminous ink that adorned the constellations. To know the path is to risk walking it. To shape time is to bear its weight. The chamber seemed smaller now, the weight of the heavens pressing close, as though the very act of opening the Codex had drawn unseen eyes to bear witness. A hushed reverence settled upon the space, the silence thick with expectation. The story had only just begun, yet the path had already been set. The Codex had been found, and with it the first step upon the celestial road had been taken. The stars had long since written their secrets in the ink of eternity, and now, at last, they awaited the one who would read them anew. The pages that followed bore maps of the heavens, but these were not the familiar constellations known to humankind. The formations were alien, shifting as though bound by an unseen rhythm, their luminescent lines appearing and fading as the parchment was tilted. The Codex was not a mere book. It was a guide to the unseen forces shaping existence, a revelation of the grand cosmic order. The charts were woven with patterns that defied mere astronomical observation. Planets moved in intricate geometries, tracing spirals that mirrored the motion of galaxies. Intersecting orbits formed symbols older than civilization, glyphs that pulsed with a meaning beyond language. Some shapes bore resemblance to the great celestial markers known to ancient stargazers, the sacred cycles of eclipses, the alignment of planets that heralded great changes in the world below. Yet there was more than observation within these pages. The Codex suggested that the heavens were not passive, that the stars themselves were linked to the course of history, bound in a web of cause and effect too vast for mortal minds to comprehend. The pages described cosmic tides, unseen forces flowing between celestial bodies, influencing events upon the earth. To understand these patterns was to glimpse the mechanism of fate itself. In the heart of the Codex lay the most enigmatic chart of all, a great spiral that seemed to fold upon itself, its whorls of starlight bound to symbols drawn with an artist's precision. Some bore the unmistakable resemblance of temporal loops, markers of time's currents shifting in ways unknown to science. The text surrounding this diagram spoke in an unfamiliar language, yet instinctively understood, as though it whispered to the mind rather than the eye. To chart the stars is to chart time, for every light in the heavens is a beacon, a signpost upon the river of eternity. With every page turned, it became clearer. This was no mere map of space, it was a record of time itself, a celestial archive encoding the past, present, and future. If one could read its symbols, they might discern the unseen hand that guided destiny, and perhaps they might even change it. But the Codex carried a warning. Written in a script both luminous and solemn, the passage read, "To know the path is to risk walking it. Beware those who would claim mastery over time, for the stars are neither kind nor cruel, they are simply bound to their course." A truth older than history lay within these pages. The stars spoke to those who dared listen, and in their silent language, they carried the weight of eternity. The Codex was more than a simple manuscript, it was an instrument of revelation. Beyond the celestial maps lay something far more profound, a system of symbols, an ancient language that wove its meaning through time itself. Each sigil and glyph carried a resonance, an energy that pulsed like the rhythm of a forgotten song. To read them was not merely to interpret, but to feel, to perceive the forces that shaped the universe. Each symbol was intricately linked to a moment in time. Some were markers of historical significance denoting great wars and upheavals, while others spoke of celestial conjunctions that heralded enlightenment or destruction. The lines between science and mysticism blurred, for these symbols did not merely predict, they shaped. As the Codex unfolded, its teachings grew clearer. The universe was no mere accident of physics, no cold machine of indifferent fate. It was alive, a web of interconnected destinies, bound together by unseen hands. The symbols upon the pages were more than static records. They were signposts along the river of time, directing those who dared to look beyond the veil. One passage stood out above all others, written in shimmering ink that shifted hues in the dim light. To know the language of the stars is to walk the path of eternity. But beware, knowledge is both a gift and a burden. This was no idle warning. The records of past civilizations bore testament to those who had sought to wield time as a weapon, to manipulate fate without understanding the delicate balance upon which it rested. Their empires had crumbled, their names lost to the whispers of history. Yet not all who studied the Codex were doomed. Some, those with wisdom and restraint, had used its knowledge to guide rather than to command. They had become watchers of the heavens, interpreters of the celestial script, guardians of the balance between free will and destiny. The Codex did not demand servitude to fate. It offered understanding, a means to walk in harmony with the grand design rather than to fight against it. The final pages spoke of an ultimate truth, a revelation hidden even from the scholars of old. The Codex hinted at a force beyond time and space, a power that bound all existence together. Its words, now luminous with an ethereal glow, read, "Time is not a prison, but a path. Space is not a void, but a bridge. The key to all things lies within the mind that dares to see." To understand the symbols was to step beyond mortal perception, to glimpse the infinite. And those who gazed upon it could never be the same again. Emma traced her fingers along the faded text, feeling a strange pulse beneath her touch. The words shimmered, reshaping themselves into something more than mere ink. Stories, knowledge, warnings. As she read, she realized the book was not just recounting history, it was revealing the fabric of existence itself. Time is not a river, nor is it a road. It is a tapestry, interwoven with three axes, fixed points, fluid paths, and anchor points. The book spoke of fixed points, events in the cosmos that could not be changed. No force, no will, not even the gods of old could alter them. They were the foundation upon which reality stood. Then came fluid paths, the shifting tides of fate where choices shaped destinies. Every traveler, every soul, every moment teetered on these paths, caught between what must be and what might be. Finally, there were anchor points, objects and individuals that existed outside the normal stream of time. They could move between moments, lingering where they should not. Emma's pendant, she realized, was one such anchor. That meant she was one too. Tales of the Cosmic Voyagers. Long before time was measured, before minutes and centuries, there were the Cosmic Voyagers. They were not gods, nor were they mortals. They were something in between, beings who walked between realms, slipping through the veil before it was sealed. They saw time as it truly was, free-flowing, undivided. Past, present, and future coiled around them, shifting with each step. They did not age, for aging was a construct of time. They did not fear death, for to them, death was but a door. One day something changed. A force beyond their understanding imposed order upon time, binding it into the structure humanity now knew. The Voyagers vanished, their knowledge lost. All that remained were their relics, objects infused with the echoes of their power. The pendant around Emma's neck pulsed with warmth. A relic of the Voyagers? Was that what she carried? There was a place, the book whispered, where time looped upon itself, a rift in the cosmic fabric known as the Echo Rift. Those who entered it became unstuck, glimpsing the entirety of existence at once. To the lost travelers, it was a prison. To scholars, it was a gateway to absolute knowledge. To the reckless, it was a death sentence. Within the rift, one could meet versions of themselves from different realities. A young girl might see the woman she would become. A man might witness the moment of his own death. It was knowledge untempered by order, a glimpse into the infinite. And somewhere within, the book hinted, something watched.
We hope you are enjoying our stories. Please go back and read chapters 1 through 6 to see the whole story. Please like, subscribe, share, and get notified about upcoming chapters and stories.
The library's knowledge had always been meant for preservation, not power. But once, long ago, a library dared to challenge the laws of time itself. He sought to change a fixed point, believing he could rewrite fate. He found a civilization on the brink of enlightenment, and in them he saw potential. He gave them a book, one containing the secrets of crystalline energy, a gift he believed that would usher in a golden age. Instead, it led to war, an arms race, an explosion so vast it swallowed an empire beneath the waves. Atlantis had not fallen to greed alone. It had fallen to the weight of knowledge wielded too soon. The Veilkeepers knew this truth. That was why they feared the library. That was why they sought to destroy it. At the heart of time itself stood the architects, neither mortals nor deities. They did not create time, nor did they control it. They ensured it flowed as it should. It was said they lived in the space between moments, in the slivers of existence unseen by mortal eyes. They whispered to those who listened, guided those who strayed too far. The Veilkeepers feared them, for the architects held knowledge that could undo everything. "Who are they?" Emma whispered aloud. The book did not answer, but she could feel something stir in the air around her, as though for the first time something was watching her back. The words dimmed once more, leaving Emma breathless. The stories had begun weaving themselves together, forming a picture she did not yet fully understand. But one thing was clear. The library was more than just a collection of books. It was a puzzle, a map, a warning. and Emma had just begun to read between the lines. Emma felt her breath hitch as she turned the page. This section was different. Unlike the others, it did not read like a story or a warning. It was a guide, an instruction manual, detailing the very laws that governed time itself. Time is not an illusion, nor is it an absolute. It is a force, a current, a structured chaos. To navigate it, one must understand its principles. 1. The law of temporal inertia. Events in time resist change. The greater the significance of an event, the stronger its inertia. Minor moments can be altered with ease, but history has a way of correcting deviations in major events, often violently. 2. The conservation of causality. Actions taken in the past must lead logically to the present. If a change creates too large a paradox, time itself will fracture, sealing off the altered timeline or erasing the instigator from existence. 3. The ripple effect. Even the smallest change in a fluid path can create unforeseen consequences. A whispered word in the past can reshape empires in the future. 4. Temporal echoes. Strong emotions, critical decisions, and catastrophic events leave imprints in time. These echoes can be revisited but not changed. Some believe these are the origin of ghosts and premonitions. 5. The anchor effect. Those who travel through time too frequently become detached from it, turning into anomalies. If they remain unmoored for too long, they either fade from existence or become something other. The past is resilient, the present is fragile, and the future is in constant flux. There is an unseen force known as the veil of time, a self-regulating phenomenon that prevents reckless manipulation of history. The veil operates through several mechanisms. Time recoil. Any attempt to alter a fixed point results in violent pushback. Those who try often find themselves inexplicably failing or even erased by history itself. The looping effect. If an event is meant to happen, it will. Even if someone prevents it, time will find another way to make it occur. Temporal distortion. The further one moves from their original timeline, the more unstable reality becomes. Colors shift, sounds distort, and even the laws of physics begin to break down. There exist cracks in the structure of reality known as hidden corridors, routes outside the normal flow of time. These corridors are natural rifts found near anomalies like black holes or ancient ruins where time has fractured. Artificial gateways, created by civilizations that once wielded temporal knowledge. Many of these have been sealed, but some remain open, waiting for those who can decipher their location. Echo points. Locations where temporal echoes are so strong they form portals to the past. However, travelers can only observe, never interact. As the words settled in her mind, Emma understood. This was more than knowledge, it was a warning. Every step into time was a risk. Every decision could shape the fate of existence, and something, somewhere, was watching her progress. She wasn't just reading history, she was preparing to walk within it. Emma turned the page, expecting more about time. Instead, she found herself staring at diagrams, intricate illustrations of layered realities, cosmic structures, and unseen forces threading through the universe. Time was not the only force governing existence. Space, too, had its own intricate laws. Space is not empty. It is woven, stretched, and compressed, layered upon itself, in ways that the human mind was never meant to perceive. There are 5 laws of dimensional stability. 1. The fabric of reality. Space is not a void, but a structured medium, composed of interwoven energy threads. These threads determine the stability of a dimension and its connection to others. 2. Dimensional overlap. Countless realities exist, many of them layered atop one another. Some interact briefly, creating anomalies such as déjà vu, phantom echoes, and unexplained disappearances. 3. The anchor principle. Just as in time, space has fixed points, locations that serve as stabilizers. Moving or disrupting these points can cause entire regions of space to collapse or become inaccessible. 4. The echo of creation. Every significant event in space leaves a ripple, an imprint that can be traced across dimensions. The destruction of a star, the birth of a civilization, or the opening of a dimensional gate can all be detected through these ripples. 5. Void convergence. The areas between dimensions, pockets of pure emptiness, act as barriers, preventing unchecked travel between worlds. Some believe these voids are sentient, adjusting and shifting to correct balance. Space is neither infinite nor singular. It is a series of corridors, doors, and locked rooms, some hidden, others waiting to be discovered. There exist natural and artificial passages between dimensions, known as fissures and bridges. Naturally occurring fissures. These appear where dimensional stability is weakest, often near black holes, neutron stars, or locations of intense cosmic energy. Some remain open for centuries, others collapse within moments. Constructed gateways, some advanced civilizations have learned to build stable pathways between dimensions. These require vast amounts of energy and precise calculations, as even the smallest misalignment can lead to catastrophic consequences. The phantom bridges, mysterious corridors that form without warning, appearing in locations where two dimensions briefly brush against each other. Travelers who enter them often return changed, or not at all. The cosmic tethers, binding space to time. Space and time do not function independently. They are bound together by forces older than the universe itself. They are connected by cosmic tethers that bind space and time. Temporal spatial locks. Certain locations act as both fixed points in space and time. These locks prevent drastic shifts and ensure reality remains stable. Ancient sites, lost temples, and celestial formations often serve as these locks. Dimensional drifting, a phenomenon where objects, people, or even entire cities slip between layers of reality due to instability. Some return after years, unchanged. Others vanish forever. The gravity wells. Some regions of space contain anomalies so dense that time itself slows or fractures within them. These wells act as both prisons and gateways, depending on one's understanding of their nature. As Emma traced the diagrams on the page, a realization struck her. Time and space were not merely tools or barriers, they were living, shifting elements of existence, guiding, resisting, and sometimes even whispering to those who listened. The library held more than knowledge, it held the keys to understanding reality itself. And she was just beginning to unlock the door. To understand space, one must embrace its structure. To understand time, one must abandon structure entirely. The final entry proposed a challenge, an idea so vast it seemed to stretch beyond the book's very existence. Time is not measured, it is experienced. The act of perceiving time alters its flow. Those who look too closely risk becoming unstuck, drawn into moments that do not belong to them. The observer's dilemma. The mind organizes time into past, present, and future. But what if this division is false? The book hinted at beings who could exist across multiple times simultaneously, unburdened by sequential thought. The artifact of time, somewhere hidden within the depths of the library, was a book that did not belong in any one era. A book whose words changed depending on when it was read. Its cover bore no title, only the single word, time. Emma's fingers trembled as she reached the end of the chapter. The library had given her a foundation, had taught her the laws governing existence, but it had also left her with something more dangerous than knowledge. A door, and now she had no choice but to step through it. The book before her was waiting, its cover simple, unmarked except for a single word, a word that pulsed as though alive, a word that would change everything she thought she knew: time.